A lot of people are taught to be kind and put others' wants before their own. However, does anyone tell us about what can happen if we are too caring and kind? The world is full of kind people who give to everyone and waste their own money and energy in the process. It's possible that being too kind could put our own lives in danger. Be amazed at the surprising bad things that can happen to you because you are too kind. Today, I will tell you 9 of them and give you 6 Stoic ways to stop people from taking advantage of you right away. 1. You will have unrealistic expectations of people. Stoics say that we should accept things as they are and not depend on other people's actions to make us happy. They say that if you give without expecting too much in return, you'll avoid sadness and develop emotional detachment, which will give you more peace of mind. Being completely selfless in our generosity is hard because when we give our all, we expect others to do the same for us when we need something important. But if you're used to having everything done for you, people will assume that you can handle everything in their lives and yours, especially your own. If you couldn't handle your own, why would you take on other people's? In reality, what will happen is that your hopes for return will not be met. Instead, you'll feel bad, tired, frustrated, and let down. Still, if we look at it objectively, people aren't failing you, they're just doing what you should be doing, which is taking care of their own tasks. Different things like societal norms, personal wants, past experiences, and media influences can lead to unrealistic expectations. A lot of the time, these assumptions involve thinking that other people will act or behave in ways that may not be true. To keep relationships healthy and avoid disappointment or anger, it's important to understand and accept that people aren't perfect and may not always live up to our standards. It's important to be honest with others, hold them to reasonable standards, and show empathy and understanding. Managing standards can help you have more satisfying and peaceful interactions with other people, which can lead to relationships that are more realistic and last longer. 2. People will only want something from you. Stoics say that it's important to remember that true value comes from doing the right thing, not just what other people want. Moderation in giving will help you stay in charge of your actions and stay away from bad habits that are bad for your mental health. People are creatures of habit, which is something you've heard your whole life. This is because our bodies are made to get used to a rhythm, a way of life, and a lot of different things going on around us. Being able to change is where the idea of a safety zone comes from. People who gain from your kindness will expect you to give them something all the time if you do it often. This will earn you their respect and comfort zones, and they won't do many of their duties because you'll be there to do them. The problem you'll have is not valuing yourself because if you don't, no one will look you in the eyes and tell you to care more about yourself. At the very least, don't expect people you help to be compassionate in this way because they will stick to their own Robin Hood, which will cost them their lives. A lot of people think that other people want something from them, whether it's something concrete like a gift or a favor or something more general like help, respect, or approval. But keep in mind that standards aren't the same for everyone or every case. When people connect with each other, some may have hopes, but that doesn't mean that everyone will only want to receive something. A lot of people are also happy when they help others without expecting anything in return. People help each other out and give because they care about the world and want to make it a better place. Good relationships also have mutual respect, understanding, and equality, which means that both people give and receive the same amount. Making rules and talking to each other clearly can also help manage expectations and make sure that talks are respectful and good for everyone. 3. You run a significant risk of being called weak and treated poorly. It's possible that people will call you weak and treat you like one. Stoic philosophy encourages us to develop inner strength and self-discipline. When we set specific boundaries and practice self-discipline, we can show others that we are committed to our own responsibilities and values. This earns respect instead of being seen as fragile and treated that way. When you are always ready to help others, you may believe that you are establishing yourself as an authority in the areas you collaborate in. However, this can create a negative image of you because when boundaries are not set, others may start to see you as weak or easily commanded. This is contrary to being a leader. This can lead them to shift their responsibilities onto you, knowing that you are unlikely to refuse because you are always ready to help others. However, as soon as you start using the word no, others may begin to consider something they may not have considered before, that is, respect. Setting boundaries and saying no when necessary demonstrates authenticity and commitment to your own priorities, thereby earning the respect of those around you. So, it is important that you show authenticity and say no when needed. Having healthy relationships is important for a happy life because they give us mental support, a sense of connection, and a sense that we belong. But it's important that these relationships are healthy and good for both people. Healthy relationships are ones in which everyone contributes and supports in an equal and respected way. If you are too nice to your partner, they may take advantage of your kindness. In healthy relationships, it's important that everyone is willing to give and receive support fairly. Just because you're a man doesn't mean you have to give everything that women want. Everyone has limits, and this goes for both sexes. 4. You run a significant risk of developing a dependency. Stoic theory stresses moderation and self-control. Being generous and self-disciplined can help us stay away from addictive behaviors and have a healthy relationship with our actions and choices when necessary. Once wants become a part of daily life, the needs often keep going up, making it easy to become dependent on others. One day, someone close to you might realize that you are abusing something too much, whether it's food, alcohol, or any other substance. Remember that people who care about you always want the best for you, so pay attention to what they have to say. Their worries are meant to help you avoid problems and move toward the improvement you want. Many people praise Stoicism for being wise in real life and strong in the face of mental illness. However, it's important to take a balanced view of any philosophical or psychological structure. Focusing on what we can control, accepting what will happen, and finding inner peace are all things that Stoicism teaches. But there is a chance of taking it too far and becoming dependent on it, just like with any other belief or theory. Here are some risks that might come with becoming too dependent on Stoicism. Emotional suppression. Stoicism tells people to control their feelings instead of letting them decide what they do. But if this goes too far, it can cause emotional suppression, which is when people reject or ignore their feelings instead of dealing with them in a healthy way. Avoiding vulnerability. Stoicism stresses being self-reliant and strong, which can mean avoiding being vulnerable or asking for help from others. Being independent is important, but being close to other people and being open are also very important for mental health. 5. Your priorities will be trampled upon. Because of your eagerness to help other people, your needs will always come last. This will leave you feeling tired and dissatisfied because, in the long run, you will end up completely ignoring your own needs. The right thing to do is to accept a moral, logical, and responsible way of life, as stated by the Stoics. This means setting boundaries and responsibilities. Before you help other people, make sure you can meet your own needs. Know your goals, talk about them, and don't be afraid to say no when necessary. Doing this is the best way to protect your mental health and well-being. If you help other people too much, you might put their needs ahead of your own, which can wear you out and make you unhappy. One important thing to remember in Stoicism is to take care of your own needs before helping others. This makes sure that you are in a good place to help other people and keeps you from getting tired. Take some time to think about your goals and be honest with yourself about what you can and can't do. Don't be afraid to talk about these goals and say no when you need to. This will protect your health and well-being. Imagine you are trying to help someone. You shouldn't be in the front seat of their life. You should try to help them in any way you can, but only after making sure you are okay and taken care of. That is the best way to protect your mental health and well-being. 6. Maintain healthy boundaries to protect your well-being. Imagine you put up a fence around your yard to protect and make it safe. In the same way, having clear, healthy limits in your personal and work life is important for your mental, physical, and emotional health. If you don't have good boundaries, you might work too much, have too much stress, or even get burned out. For your well-being, you need to set healthy limits. Here are some things to think about. It can help you stop working too much. By putting limits on your work life, you can make sure you have time to relax and recharge, which will help you stay productive and keep a healthy balance between work and life. 7. Surrounded by many but supported by few. Excessive kindness can attract people who want to take advantage of you rather than genuine friends. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of wisdom in choosing whom to help and focusing on maintaining genuine connections. By practicing self-control and setting healthy boundaries, you can discern between sincere and exploitative individuals, ensuring that your energy is not wasted on those who do not value your kindness. Maintain a positive outlook and attract like-minded individuals who genuinely support and appreciate you. 8. You could end up falling into addiction. You could end up falling into addiction. Being too kind can often lead to burnout and unhealthy coping mechanisms. The Stoics tell us to be careful and balanced to avoid falling into bad habits. Being nice is good, but if it starts to cost you too much, it can lead to emotional and physical burnout. Addiction is a complicated problem that can affect anyone, regardless of how kind they are. But it's important to recognize that being too kind and not putting up limits can make people more likely to get addicted because they are more likely to get tired and stressed. Stoicism stresses self-control and moderation, which can help people avoid getting into bad habits. Make sure that your kindness and generosity don't hurt your own health and that you can keep up with them in the long run. Addiction is a complicated issue that can happen for many different reasons, such as genetic predisposition, mental health problems, environmental influences, and life experiences. But if you are too kind, always put other people's needs before your own, and don't take care of yourself, you could end up stressed and burned out, which could make you more likely to turn to bad ways of dealing with things like addiction. 9. You will experience emotional burnout. Excessive kindness without practicing self-care can lead to emotional burnout, which is characterized by feelings of exhaustion, helplessness, and resentment. Stoic philosophy encourages managing one's emotions and maintaining a balanced life. By setting boundaries and prioritizing self-care, you can prevent emotional burnout and ensure that your kindness remains a positive force in your life and the lives of others. Regularly assess your emotional state and take steps to recharge and rejuvenate when needed. Excessive kindness, without proper self-care, can lead to emotional burnout, which is characterized by feelings of exhaustion, helplessness, and resentment. Stoicism teaches us to manage our emotions and maintain a balanced life to avoid such negative outcomes. By setting boundaries and prioritizing self-care, we can prevent emotional burnout and ensure that our kindness remains a positive force in our lives and the lives of others. Regularly assessing our emotional state and taking steps to recharge and rejuvenate when needed is essential for maintaining our well-being.